Hey, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be watching Realistic Pokemon Biology, Part 1. This is from Curious Archive, and since I don't know a whole lot about Pokemon, but I always think they look really cute, and a lot of them I think are really cool looking, so I thought this would be kind of a fun one. And if you guys can always give me your input on some of these too, of either how cursed they look or if you think they look cool in more like a realistic style. So let me know. But I am looking forward to this one. If you do get a chance, I'd appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch. And I will have Curious Archives video linked in my description below. So be sure to go and give them lots of support. He does some cool videos. But all right, let's see these realistic Pokemon.
Have you ever wondered what Pokemon might look like as realistic creatures? By their very nature, Pokemon are highly stylized, so reimagining them as more biologically feasible life forms presents an exciting challenge. This concept is the idea behind the Realistic Pokemon Project, a series by R.J. Palmer, aka Arvillus, who is one of my favorite creature designers.
Oh, I'll have to go follow them on DeviantArt. I do have a DeviantArt. Some of these look a little scary though. Which I guess I don't know what their cartoon version is, but some of these look a little crazy. But a lot of them look really badass though.
R.J. Palmer, aka Arvillus, who is one of my favorite creature designers, and is so talented he was hired to assist with the designs for movies like Detective Pikachu, and I have links to where you can follow and support him in this video's description. His art imagines what kind of biology a more scientifically grounded version of a Pokemon might have, often with fascinating results. So for this entry into the archive, you can expect a Pokemon nature documentary of sorts, examining Palmer's redesigned Pokemon as if they were real animals.
These all look so crazy. Oh, I like them though. These are cool.
Before we get started, a quick disclaimer. These realistic life forms are an awesome speculative exercise, but not an attempt to somehow improve the stylized designs of the original games. They're just meant to be interesting alternate takes. Also, when Palmer calls
I think that's fair. I mean, it's just a creative perspective. I get it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
these designs
Do people get crazy about that with Pokemon? Like, is that why he said this? I don't really know the Pokemon community very well, so like do they get a little nutty?
games. They're just meant to be interesting alternate takes. Also, when Palmer calls these designs realistic, he means they ground the appearance of Pokemon in real-world anatomy, but many are of course still more fantastical than what you'd likely find in nature, and in some cases still possess their elemental abilities, because it's more exciting that way. He incorporates real science and biology when he can, but the main goal of this project is just to have fun. With that said,
That's fair. This seems like a fun project, especially if you're a big fan of Pokemon. I think this would be a really fun one. This one looks really cool. I really like this one.
Science and biology when he can, but the main goal of this project is just to have fun. With that said, let's get started and dive into the incredible world of realistic Pokemon. We'll begin
I guess when we get to the end, let me know which one is your favorite.
our journey through the natural world of Pokemon in the Kanto region and examine realistic versions of the starter lines. Opening with Venusaur and its pre-evolutions, you can see how different Pokemon look when rendered with more realistic detail. Here,
Oh, it looks pretty though. It looks cool. Oh, I like this. I feel like I'm having a hard time deciding because my judgment is going to be purely based off of aesthetics because I don't know a whole lot about Pokemon, but I know I've seen a lot of their pictures, but that doesn't really mean anything as far as like I know anything else about them.
you can see how different Pokemon look when rendered with more realistic detail. Here, Palmer has modeled the fantastical anatomy of the Venusaur line off real animals like horned lizards and the extinct parareptile Gutosaurus, an organism that wasn't actually that far off in size from a Venusaur. Palmer also imagines the organisms have an endosymbiotic relationship with a large type of flower, similar in size to real-life Rafflesia, plants which can reach 4 feet or 1.2 meters in diameter.
Oh my gosh, I did not even realize this was a thing. This looks like it's fake, but this looks fake. This is crazy looking though. It's really cool.
Rafflesia.
I see the inspiration now.
Plants which can reach 4 feet or 1.2 meters in diameter. Rafflesia are also parasitic, meaning they derive some of their nutritional requirements from other plants. We can imagine our Venusaurs have a similar, albeit more mutually beneficial, arrangement with the plant that grows out of their backs, giving the flowers energy in exchange for added defense and perhaps vice versa. Plant-animal cooperation isn't completely unheard of in nature, like hummingbirds pollinating flowers or moss growing on the fur of sloths, although sloths don't get much say in that one. Admittedly, this Venusaur line is taking this to a new level, but it's more fun to imagine a life form with a giant symbiotic plant on its back than without one.
I think that one's really cool. Oh, okay. I do know Charizard, but I feel like that's kind of like a cop-out, right? I think everybody knows that one.
It's more fun to imagine a life form with a giant symbiotic plant on its back than without one. Charizard and its pre-evolutions are up next, and have been reimagined in fearsome detail. Palmer adds new complexities of scale patterns, ridges, and layers of muscle to help ground these more fantastical creatures in the natural world. For inspiration, Palmer has drawn from the appearance of many different types of real-world reptiles, some of which look like they could be from another world if you stare.
That's true. I feel like there's a lot of reptiles that could pass as Pokemons. Like, this one's really cool. I really like this one. I like reptile eyes too. I think they always just look so, like, I don't know, like almost like fantasy creature type of realm that we're in when you see them. I think it's cool.
Different types of real-world reptiles, some of which look like they could be from another world if you stare at them long enough. The claws on the forelimbs in particular remind me of the anatomy of monitor lizards like the Komodo dragon, which in real life can grow up to 10 feet or 3 meters. And like most monitor lizards, this more biologically feasible version of Charizard usually stays lower to the ground due to its weight, and is rearing up in this image as an intimidation display. And the last starter we'll be covering here is Blastoise and its pre-evolutions. These turtle-like creatures now seem—
oh, this one's cute looking. I like that little cartoon they have of it in the corner. This one's kind of cute though.
Covering
like
here is Blastoise
version.
and its pre-evolutions. These turtle-like creatures now seem much better adapted for life in an aquatic environment, with sea turtle biology forming the basis for all three designs. Palmer imagines Squirtle might have a long, rudder-like tail to steer through the water, and much like a baby sea turtle, are quite a bit slower on land. In contrast, War Turtles, seen here having a minor standoff with a quite realistic Krabby, spend much of their time resting on the sea floor. Palmer has depicted War Turtles' head fins as a unique kind of fan coral that grow from the creature's head due to their sedentary lifestyle.
That's really cool. Oh, I like how he did that. That looks really, really good. I love this.
As a unique kind of—
I love this color palette too. I'm just saying. That's probably like a girl take on it, but this color palette is really, really nice.
Fan coral that grow from the creature's head due to their sedentary lifestyle. And the aquatic behemoth Blastoise is perhaps the trickiest to get right. Cleverly, Palmer has reimagined its cannons as biological water jets, much like the ones some real-world squid species use for propulsion, although Blastoise's jets have evolved to be much more powerful. If you look closely, you can see a Staryu and Shelder in this image too, which creates an immersive sense of a rich underwater ecosystem.
That's pretty cool. I'm so impressed by like how he gets so much texture in these. It's really impressive. I definitely find him very, very talented. I'm very impressed. But I love seeing all kinds of people's art, so it always kind of puts me in awe.
Moving past starters, interestingly, Palmer reimagines Dragonite as a giant amphibian, taking inspiration from the Japanese giant salamander, and basing Dragonite's earlier forms, Dratini and Dragonair, off salamander tadpoles. In nature, some salamander tadpoles do feature frill-like structures on the sides of their heads, which do look somewhat like Dratini's little side crests.
That is really cute though. That is adorable.
Structures on the sides of their heads,
the real one
which
and
do look somewhat like Dratini's little side crests. Strange though it might sound, in the real world these body parts are actually the salamander's external gills. Since salamanders are one of the few real-world animals where a serpentine-looking creature transforms into a reptilian-looking one, it's a pretty clever fit for a more biologically feasible version of Dragonite. And while real-world Japanese giant salamanders of course aren't actual dragons, they might well be the next closest thing. Up next, we have various evolutions of the unique Pokemon Eevee. In this more realistic world, Palmer imagines these organisms.
You know Eevee. I do know that one. Thanks to my bestie. But gosh, these all look so impressive. These are really, really pretty.
Are the result of a single species diversifying to adapt to different environments. There are all sorts of small creative details here that make this image great, like Vaporeon having more defined flipper-like feet, almost like a seal or sea lion, Espeon resembling a hairless sphinx cat, and Leafeon having a high density of moss in their fur, giving—
I see all these resemblance though. I think he did a really, really good job with these. I definitely see it. These are so cool.
Them the appearance of being green, again, sort of like a sloth. In the category of legendary Pokemon, Palmer imagines Arcanine as a powerful predator, taking anatomical inspiration from canines of course, but also borrowing features from lions and tigers, which makes sense considering Arcanine in the games has something of a lion's mane and some tiger-like markings on its side. Plus, if any real animals deserve the title of legendary, lions and tigers are definitely among them, so it makes sense that a more lifelike Arcanine would resemble them. Palmer also drew the pre-evolved form Growlithe, which I think looks a bit like a lion cub.
So cute.
A small detail I like is that this cub seems to be playing with a Turtwig, although the Turtwig doesn't seem too happy about it.
This is so cute though. Oh, I love this. He puts so much like personality in him. I don't know. I love his art. I love it. I'm gonna have to go follow him on DeviantArt.
Is that this cub seems to be playing with a Turtwig, although the Turtwig doesn't seem too happy about it. For the Pokemon Nidoking, Palmer took inspiration from various sources, adding the leathery armor and central horn of a rhino, while also borrowing the claws and spines of a porcupine for the rest of the anatomy. The result is a truly unique looking creature. And near this Pokemon's tail, Palmer snuck in a realistic interpretation of Pikachu, which—
oh, I love that. It does kind of look like Pikachu. This one looks crazy. This one looks mean. This looks like a mean one.
not surprisingly, looks quite rodent-like. In the realm of flying types, Palmer has converted Honchkrow into a much more biologically feasible looking creature, an impressive feat considering how stylized Honchkrow are in the games. Their beards have been reimagined as part of their body they can puff up to attract mates, similar to the displays of some birds of paradise. Their hats have also been reimagined as unique looking bony plates, which are actually quite similar to the bony plates on the heads of real-life cassowaries.
That's actually really, really creative. What a creative way to do this. I like this one too. This one's really cool. They look very fancy. These are fancy birds.
Which are actually quite similar to the bony plates on the heads of real-life cassowaries, plates that these giant birds can use as a deceptively powerful weapon. Another challenging Pokemon to make realistic is Garchomp, who happens to be one of my personal favorites. This version is an imposing carnivore, imagined as a fusion of a theropod dinosaur and some kind of shark, just on land. In fact, I could imagine this strange predator stalking the sands of an arid environment. Definitely one realistic Pokemon which might be dangerous to encounter in nature. Another dinosaur-like Pokemon, but with some intriguing insect-like influences, is Scyther, depicted here looking quite different from its original design.
This one looks really cool though. Oh, he's going to show a praying mantis. I do see that part of it too now. This one looks cool. I actually really, really like this one. I like it.
Is Scyther, depicted here looking quite different from its original design. The creature's forms in this version resemble those of a mantis, although this reinterpretation also has some pretty clear theropod influences as well.
I just love like its face and its like whole kind of like body shape. I don't know. I really like this one. This one kind of looks like a little badass.
Its wings are depicted as a kind of back sail, almost like a thinner version of the sails on the backs of dinosaurs like Spinosaurus. A pretty inventive reimagining.
Rude.
Perhaps the trickiest Pokemon on this list to imagine as a living organism is Gengar and its pre-evolutions.
Oh, I love this one. Okay, this one might have to be my favorite because they're little bats. How can we not think this is cool? Cute. So cute.
Instead of ghosts, this evolutionary line has been reimagined as bat-like organisms, which fits their spooky theme. Starting with Ghastly, Palmer depicts this bizarre pre-evolution as a poisonous bat with a specialized helium bladder that allows it to float, almost like a living balloon. Strange? Sure, but you've got to get creative when imagining a ghost type as a wild animal. Moving on, Haunters have been realized with translucent wings to give them that floating hand look, which is a creative way to ground the design biologically. And
that is really creative. Ooh, that was a smart one. That was a really smart move on that one. That's cool.
To give them that floating hand look, which is a creative way to ground the design biologically. And finally, Gengar is a heavier terrestrial creature, which Palmer imagines as an active carnivore.
This is like a little gremlin. Oh, I love it though. Oh, I love it.
Is a heavier terrestrial creature, which Palmer imagines as an active carnivore. Zoroark
It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever, this is like from a long time ago, but if you ever saw the movie Critters, or I think it's called, that's what it reminds me of. I really like it.
Terrestrial creature, which Palmer imagines as an active carnivore. Zoroark has also been given the carnivore treatment, with its anatomy now much closer to a canine predator, and this
looks like a little hyena, like a big crazy hyena. I like it.
Stylized elements of the original design toned down. In the skull and teeth region, Palmer's Zoroark somewhat resembles a hyena. And moving down to the ground, also ready for their close-up is Diglett, conceptualized as a much more conventional burrowing life form akin to a star-nosed mole, which is good because star-nosed moles are the best. Returning at last to legendary Pokemon, this awe-inspiring reimagining of Reshiram focuses on the avian qualities of the legendary to create a more taxonomic.
This is like majestic looking. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous.
Imagining of Reshiram focuses on the avian qualities of the legendary to create a more taxonomically consistent design.
Wow.
An ancient and powerful being in the games, this portrayal likewise takes inspiration from the anatomy of extinct proto-birds and early avian dinosaurs, just scaled up to epic proportions. One extra world-building detail is that Palmer imagines the silver bangles on its neck were offerings from early humans who worshipped it like a deity.
Oh, I love that.
And as the finale of our journey through realistic Pokemon designs, we have Groudon, looking straight out of an epic myth when rendered in so much realistic detail. Huge.
Oh, this one looks cool too. I see the resemblance. Ooh, this one looks way cool. It's a big boy.
Looking
11 feet tall. Big boy.
straight out of an epic myth when rendered in so much realistic detail. Huge and pulsing with some unknown bioluminescent display, this gargantuan creature stretches the limits of size for wildlife, taking anatomical clues from the largest of theropod dinosaurs. It's the sort of behemoth that would seem right at home stomping through a volcanic landscape. Of course, a creature of this size would have an effect on its environment. Running from this titan's thundering steps is a Magmar, which in this interpretation resembles the curious shoe-billed stork, an animal.
They look very similar. This one was a really good one too. For not knowing any of these, it's like I can see all of the resemblance, and I think that that's really cool.
Magmar.
Because I would say then you probably did it right? You have somebody who's not super knowledgeable of Pokemon, but when you show me the cartoon and then you show me the like interpretation of it, and I can definitely see it, then I think that means you did a fantastic job. These are so incredible. He's an amazing artist.
Which in this interpretation resembles the curious shoe-billed stork, an animal that proves once and for all that nature can frankly be just as weird as Pokemon. The world of realistic Pokemon is vast and is yet to be fully explored, but we've reached the end for this particular video. There are extra designs on RJ Palmer's site and in his art books, so check the links below if you're interested. And I'll be back next week with part 2, which will feature Palmer's more recent designs, where things get even more inventive. Also, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this entry, please lend your support, and like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to stay up to date on all things curious. See you in the next video.
I thought this video was cool. This video was way cool. This is an amazing artist. This is, I love this. I love seeing people's art anyway. So it's just, I mean, this person's super, super talented. So this is a great video. Really interesting insights too for a, unknowledgeable Pokemon person myself. So This was great though. Let me know which one was your favorite. I would have to say I think the Gengar one's my favorite. I like that little creature. That one's definitely my favorite. But let me know yours and let me know if you want to see part 2 because I would be interested in watching part 2. So let me know. This was a great video. Be sure to follow Curious Archive. This was an awesome, awesome video. So be sure to give him lots of support. And that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you have a great day and I will see you in the next one.